This story has become surrounded by so many speculations and myths that it is deservedly considered a fairy tale. But did the hijacking of the top-secret helicopter actually take place? The Bell AH-1 Cobra attack helicopter was developed by Bell Helicopter Textron in the very early 1960s. According to official data, the machine made its first flight in 1965, after which the U.S. military, inspired by its combat capabilities, signed a contract for the supply, and the Cobras began to enter the troops. With the creation of their attack helicopter for daring offensive operations, the Soviet designers were 4 years too late. Only in 1969, the legendary Mi-24 first flew in the sky. By that time the AH-1, which had already flown for 4 years, had gone through an upgrade. A new version of the machine called the Super Cobra turned out to be even more armed and deadly. The only thing these machines lacked was a full baptism of fire. To do this, the secret government group at the Pentagon, with the participation of the CIA people, decided to send 3, according to other sources, 5, combat vehicles to participate in the fighting in Vietnam. It was there in 1970 that an event occurred, about which the controversy has not subsided to this day. The Americans did not dare to keep the Cobras in territory controlled by their allies. There were several reasons for that. First, it was necessary to maintain secrecy, and the Vietnamese at that time could not keep secrets, especially not their own. Second, they needed convenient logistics. It was problematic to deliver supplies and weapons from the sea, so they chose a Cambodian village that was about 30 minutes away from Vietnam to establish a secret parking lot called Flying Joe. 3 Cobra helicopters from the experimental improved batch were to make regular secret combat sorties. 2 more were on full alert in case the first 3 failed or one of the helicopters was shot down. According to some reports, the combat work of the Experimental Aviation Group was extremely successful. Daring raids into the rear of the North were conducted mostly at dawn, and after the Cobras shot their ammunition and left for base, bombers flew to the scene of the morning battle. The U.S. Airborne Special Forces attacks lasted a year, until General Staff Intelligence had its first clues as to what was troubling the USSR's northern allies in this war. To get your hands on a unique and cutting-edge American attack helicopter, or any vehicle of that kind, in those years was considered an incredible stroke of luck. However, such an operation could only be entrusted to the best-trained unit. Fortunately, the Soviet Armed Forces had such a unit. In May 1970, according to other reports, the operation had taken place 1 year earlier. The first group of special forces of the main intelligence directorate of the General Staff was brought to Vietnam. Officers of the Pacific Fleet's secret Haluai unit, the 42nd Special Purpose Reconnaissance Station, also arrived there to enhance their effectiveness. In addition to their skills in sabotage, the Maritime Spets had a special course in driving maritime, up to 3,000 tons of displacement, and airborne, example Cessna planes, equipment. They were entrusted with the main task, using only 2 pictures of Cobra helicopters, to identify the most advanced versions of machines in the parking lot, conduct their capture and deliver them to the nearest point of evacuation. The main problem for the team deployed to Cambodia closer to Camp Flying Joe was the torrential tropical rain that hit the area 2 days before the operation. Only 45 minutes before orders were given, the rain stopped, and the fighters, armed with silenced weapons, moved into position. Suddenly it became clear that it was impossible to visually locate the Cobras. There were jeeps, transport helicopters and other equipment on a small piece of land, and the right helicopters were gone. A brief inspection of the site showed that the Cobras had been hidden from the rain in a special hangar. This significantly complicates the mission and puts it on the verge of failure. Hijacking in 25 minutes, or what's wrong with the story of the Cobra hijacking? The first group, armed with silenced weapons, took 3 minutes to storm the base. The 12 men guarding the perimeter of the base were neutralized, but the guard on duty managed to raise the alarm. A brief battle ensued, and by the end of the battle, the first of 5 helicopters was being rolled onto the pad. According to some reports, only 25 minutes after the end of the assault 2 of the machines took off, while the rest were doused with kerosene and set on fire, as planned. Specialists trained in driving foreign equipment landed the helicopters near the town of Pleikan, where Soviet military specialists were already waiting for them. According to the legend of the Cobra helicopter hijacking, the Pentagon did not know until the end of the Cold War who and, most importantly, Why hijack the top-secret combat vehicles? The story of the hijacking of the secret helicopters has been criticized many times. Some could not believe it, others thought that the US had never sent Cobra helicopters to Vietnam. It is indeed hard to believe in such a daring and quick operation, but neither the GRU nor the highest level confirmed or denied the existence of the operation. But the Americans declassified the participation of Cobra helicopters in combat operations in Vietnam in the early 2000s. According to former pilots, the machines proved to be excellent in combat. Another object of criticism for a long time were the commandos themselves. Some versions of events noted that all members of the elite unit evacuated in stolen helicopters, but this is far from the truth. Most of the secret unit left the operation site on foot just as they got there. At the same time, each Cobra had a mini-missile with a special fuse attached to it. If there was a threat of losing the vehicle during the retreat to their own, it had to be detonated. How the Cobra helped Soviet aircraft designers. According to some reports, the Cobras captured in Vietnam were quickly transferred to the base at the 30th Central Research Institute of the Ministry of Defense, where they studied their armament, propulsion system, and more. Indirectly, the loss of top-secret helicopter confirms the fact that immediately after the operation at the Flying Joe base, the U.S. Army ordered the modernization of the helicopter, demanding to change the stuffing right down to each cog. In 1974, the work was completed. The AH-1S Cobra was born, an improved version of that very machine. Thanks to the Cobra, the Soviet Mi-24A helicopters were further developed. Having studied the glazing of the American machine and comparing it with the domestic solution, aircraft designers strengthened armor protection of the pilot's cabin. As a result, a machine with spherical glazing was born, which many know as the Mi-24B. Subscribe to the channel and share this video with your friends. Give it a thumbs up. Tell us interesting facts you know about the topic of this video. See you in new videos.